Hey everyone, my name is Mehdi and welcome back. For today's tutorial, I have a different kind of tutorial. It's a process, so I don't know how long it's going to take. But today I'm going to be talking about how to do in-context renderings using 2D images or 2D backgrounds. So a while ago, I made this video about how to make in-context rendering using 3D models and 3D scenes, and a lot of people liked it. So I thought maybe I should make a second part. But in this part, I'm just going to make or render an image using a 2D background, and then I'm going to show you the post-processing, and I'm going to show you the whole process because I was already working on this project for school, so I thought, why not? Let's just record myself and then show you how I do it. So the way I do it, I usually go and find a background on Splash. It's a free website. You can find a lot of high quality pictures and photographs. And since I have a knee brace, I was looking for someone who is running. And in my research, it showed that women are most likely to suffer from knee problems. So I started looking for women running, jogging, or just hitting the gym, something like that. I found some images, and these are my images right now. What I try to look for is their image quality and also their mood, their scene. Obviously, I can change the color of my knee brace, so that wouldn't be a problem. But the perspective is important. So, for example, this one, I think I'm going to be using this one because we get enough lighting, and also the person who's running is kind of blurry. It's just a motion blur, so that's good. It'll make it look more realistic, the rendering. And I have more examples here. You need a lot of examples, but this is probably the best one. So I'm gonna first take it to Photoshop to just crop it to 17 by 11 because the ratio of your render will depend on the ratio of your 2D background. I don't think this is 17 by 11, so we're gonna change that, and it's already 17 by 11, and maybe I can put it uh, on there, and maybe just make it a little bit more um, smaller and more focused on towards the right knee. Just the rule of third, I believe that's what it's called in photography. So I'm gonna save it as a new file, and I'm gonna save it as new. Alright, so right now we don't have to do anything else in Photoshop for now. So I'm just gonna close this, and let's not close it actually. Just keep it open. And I'm gonna go back to Keyshot, and this is my knee brace, and that's my 3D model. It's just a person. It's also an animation, so this person runs. But right now I don't want it to run, so I'm just gonna. Which one was it? I'm just gonna hide this, and because it's an animation, I'm just gonna lock it there because I don't want that frame to change. I can just delete the animation things, properties, whatever. But I'm just gonna keep it the same. And let's see. So the next thing you want to do, you want to import your backplate. So you go to the backplate, and here you can import your backplate. And I'm gonna have to find the picture first. And here's the picture. And this is my basic environment, I believe. Yes, it is. And I'm just gonna drag and drop it here. If nothing shows up, you go down and you can see the backlight image. Oh, because my image, I have the background color on. So I'm just going to turn it off. It's on performance mode. I'm going to just go to default for the image. And I'm just going to try to adjust it using the camera first because I don't want to move the knee brace. I'm going to see if I can just adjust it using the camera settings, distance, and before we do anything else, I'm gonna go and set camera target. So it's still weird. I think I'm just gonna like try to put it there, and I'm just gonna delete the jogging guy because it's taking a lot of my RAM, and that should be better, I think. Maybe let's fit it there. And it's really a game of being patient, obviously, and try to fit everything together so that it looks natural. Um, I believe this is fine. Obviously, I'm gonna have to change that in Photoshop, maybe, or in Photoshop. So I'm gonna keep it there. I'm gonna turn off the performance mode. Gonna twist it a little bit more. I believe that's it's looking good. The position is good. The position is natural. Maybe twist it a little bit more. And we want her patella to just fit in the patella ring perfectly. Looks pretty good. What I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna actually save this camera. I'm gonna lock it, but then I'm gonna just bring it here. Maybe hide that one for now. And I'm just gonna keep it there. Something like this. Right, so right now the placement is good, and I'm gonna have to play with the lighting to just make it look like that it's really in the picture. So first of all, I'm gonna change the color. Her leggings are dark red, and the patella rings is like a kind of purplish, so I don't want that. Let's choose a color from her top. That's too dark, something lighter maybe. That looks fantastic actually. And let's see if I can get this darker, or if it looks better, darker or lighter. Yeah, actually this looks good. It looks like the color of her shoes, and maybe some pure white instead of just like some bluish white. Alright, this needs to be a little darker now since I changed the color of the main piece. And I'm gonna smooth this a little bit up. And this looks pretty nice. Again, we can take it to Photoshop and then crop it even smaller so that you can see more details. But right now, I believe it's fine. The camera, I'm gonna save it. And for the lighting, I'm in the basic environment, just the startup environment, no HDRI or anything. I don't want to use an HDRI here. I just want to use some, some basic geometry lighting. So I'm gonna add a few geometries, and let's see, let's lock this. And I'm gonna add, let's say, a sphere here. All right, we have our sphere here, and I ended up moving the knee brace a little bit, just rotating it. And so for the sphere, we want to add an area light, and Lux, I heard that it's more natural. I don't know what the difference is exactly, but let's just go with Lux, and I'm going to change the color to something more yellow. That's too much, obviously. Let's keep it as that light yellow. And as you can see on her legs, the light is shining from everywhere. So that means that the sun is somewhere on top of her, obviously. And we're gonna need maybe two light sources. And it's loading. And all right, so just move this here. Now, as you can see, it's too washed or too bright right now. So we don't want this. We want something obviously less bright. Let's see. So also 100 is too little. 1,000. What's the other one? Let's do 10,000 for the other one. And this one, let's do 10,000 again. And let's move them away from the knee brace a little bit more. Actually, let's just move it downward. And same with this. Let's see, I forgot to turn off the colors on the edges there, so I'm gonna do that right now. It's kind of blackish, and this is what? This is 84. Let's keep it at 85, and let's change this to say 80. I think this is cool, and let's change this one to. I'm gonna increase the cutoff a little bit and increase the radius. And let's decrease it a little bit here. Decrease the radius. So that the color on the edges is more dispersed, and it's basically lighter. And I think it should be good now. The color is fine. Okay, I'm gonna keep that as is. Let's save this. I haven't saved it. For completion to be okay. Let's save it. So this is basically my process. Every time I try to render something, it takes a while. And if I don't know something, I just play with it until I get it right. And in this case, it's the lighting right now. I'm not quite sure if it looks good. Because here it's quite light, and then here that's also light. So maybe this one should be a little bit higher. And that's why I really don't like using 2D images as my background and as my scene, because it takes a lot of time to get it right. Let's go a little darker with this. Let's do 80. And I'm gonna keep the other one as at 84, or was it 80? 80, okay. Then let's go 77, maybe. 76. I'll have little adjustments here and there. I'm gonna make this a little bit darker as well. So I'm gonna keep the straps the same color because they're supposed to be Velcro, and I'm not gonna change that. And let's see. Let's go to the right, and let's change that to color, and let's do black. So we know exactly where the light sources are shining through. And as you can see, we have some, it's right behind the knee brace. So what we want to do, we want to actually make it bigger. So obviously it's bigger than the knee brace, and it's just shining everywhere on the knee brace. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to my first light source, and I'm gonna scale it by 10. That's obviously too much, but it's fine. It's just the sun. And I'm gonna actually increase the size of my environment as well. Ground size, let's do 3,000, and this, let's do 1,000. Okay. So now we can move our light source easier. And again, obviously it's only shining toward the back of the knee brace. I believe that's supposed to be like that. I'm gonna turn this off for now, and I'm gonna turn this one isn't doing anything at all, so I'm gonna just add another 0 to it. There we go. That's perfect actually. No, that's great. So visible in shadows, okay, maybe a bit towards the right. Let's put it here. Alright. And let's Let's turn on the other one. Let's see how it looks. That's too bright, so I'm gonna remove a 0, and I think this is pretty good. I'm gonna go back to my environment, go to HDRI. Perhaps I can use the sun and sky. I have never used it, so I do not know what. Oh, these are just the cities. So I don't know. Let's change. This is interesting. I've never actually used this. So I guess we can get something natural. Huh? Actually, doesn't look too bad, does it? There we go. That's a great tool for something like what we're doing. Yeah, that doesn't actually look too bad. So one thing you can do actually is I mean you can trick the material to look like it's actually uh, light is like shining towards the model by just changing the material and then using a gradient. So like from like black to white and then or like white, black, white. So it's like the middle looks kind of darker. So that way it just gives it the feeling that light is shining toward the back and the front of the model. I think this is pretty good. I'm not sure if there's anything else I can do. The image style, obviously that just affects everything. So I'm gonna keep it as the default, and I'm gonna change the exposure a little bit. Let's do 25, and then let's get back there. And let's see, let's just play with it. See what looks better. Is linear, no contrast. I like the linear better. The white balance, let's increase the white balance a little bit because it will make it look much better. And actually, let's try to turn on our motion blur. I'm not sure if it does have motion blur already or not. I believe it does. Let's do something. Let me unlock this and move that here. So it does have some motion blur, as you can see. That's too much motion blur. So let's see. Let's turn on the camera and let's turn off the model and part. And that doesn't do anything. Let's see. Let's go to 12. No motion blur for us here, but if I just change it of one frame and then turn on the motion blur, you can see how much motion blur we get. So we can change this a little bit. We can do say 0.1, and it's gonna just ruin the, what was it, 2? Alright, 2. What we can do, we can actually duplicate this. So I'm just gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna put it here. And I'm gonna change this to say 0.1, and I'm gonna change this to say 0.1 again. So that doesn't have much motion blur, so we're just gonna go 25. Oh, this is something else that if you guys didn't know, you can add motion blur in Keyshot, obviously as what I'm doing right now, but for that you need to have an animation knot. So that's why I added that animation knot, so I can get the motion blur, and then the faster it moves, or the more distance that it takes, or it moves basically, the more motion blur you'll get, obviously. So this is too much, as you can see. It's like we're losing details there. So we're gonna do 0.2 or even 0.15, and we do have a little bit of motion blur, like here, mostly on the edges, maybe here. But we don't have that much motion blur, so that's good. And the lady is her knee is going up. So for that we need to change Y and not Z. Is that so? This is Z and not X. There we go. Right? Let's see. Yeah, okay, we're not gonna change X, so we're just gonna change Y and Z, which is what we already have. And okay, thank you. And I'm gonna lock it there and go to number 12. I believe there's something missing. Maybe this needs to be a tad bit darker so that it looks like, or the color matches with her top over there. And the roughness, I want to increase the roughness to 0.2, and then this one is 0.5, that's fine. This one is using a fabric material or fabric texture. I think that's also pretty good. Um, white, let's see, what does it look like? Pure white. Let's do 90. And let's change that. As you can see, it's a lot of back and forth. So it does get boring if you don't have the patience for it. But I enjoy doing what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. Let's bring it. Let's rotate it a little bit here. Let's keep it there. And that's pretty good actually. And then we're gonna take it to Photoshop, and then it's gonna even look better. So image style. Let's see. Let's get some chromatic aberration, and let's increase that. Is it changing the background? I'm actually not sure. Let's see, 12, and let's make it red so it's more obvious. We're getting some here and here. As you can see, it's a little darker here. Can even increase this so it's even more obvious. We are getting chromatic aberration. So, or I don't know how to pronounce that, but chromatic aberration is basically that's blur effect. Then when you take a picture, you get that like kind of colored blur effect. It's not motion blur, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, and as you can see, it is affecting our 2D background, which is good. So everything is uniform. I did not know about that. So obviously 5 is too much, and red. I don't know if I want to keep it red. Let's go with some green actually, and that's awful. That is just awful. Um, let's see. Let's just go back to red, and actually, no. Let's do yellow. So the sunlight and stuff. So I'm just gonna keep it at 1. I think this is fine. I'm gonna add a vignette to it too. So funny thing, when I was a freshman, our professor said that, hey, you guys should draw a vignette. And then we were all like, what? And then we realized what vignette was, and apparently it's a French word, if I'm not mistaken. And we had to actually look it up on Google to see what vignette is. That's first semester, freshman year. I'm gonna change. Right, I'm gonna move this a little bit more. And I think it looks pretty good. Let's change. Which one was that? Let's change this. Let's do 5, and then let's remove this one. Perfect. And for the other one, for which one was it? For this one, I can just add that on Photoshop because right now obviously it doesn't look too good. So I'm gonna remove that, and then maybe was it that one? Okay. Then maybe you just render one uh, without the actual new brace and just render that thing. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. Um, all right. We can change the blur effects here, and then maybe just like make the whole thing a little bit more blurry, and even maybe add a little bit more motion blur to it. So let's do 2. Let's do 2. And obviously it'll move our knee brace. not our knee brace, my knee brace. Okay, so this does look good. I'm gonna render this as is right now, and then I'm gonna render um, only the back piece here, and then I'm gonna move it a little bit so it's towards the back of her knee or her thigh. Alright, so it's gonna take a while to render, and also always remember when you go to render your image, you want the samples to be high and the resolution to be high as well, but you want the samples to be higher. So the samples is the more important uh, thing that you want to be pretty high. So I'm gonna go with 1024. That's fine, and I'm gonna change this to say 2500 at 300 pixels per inch. And always remember to turn on your clown. Just check this or tick this box or check this box. If you don't know what clown is, I'm gonna tell you what it is in a second, and I'm gonna send it to the network. And I'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, so the renderings are done. They took a while, unfortunately, but I'm back. So what I already did, I just dragged and dropped all the renderings and all the clowns into one Photoshop file. And what a clown is it's basically this. So it's just a colored rendering of your rendering. I do not know if that made sense. But if you want to say make adjustments to the patella ring, you just like select using your magic wand. You just select red, and then it just like basically selects everything, and it's very helpful when you're dealing with 2D images like this. So always turn on your clown when you're rendering. So the first thing I want to do is to actually get rid of these holes here, because this needs, the holes need to be empty and actually show the purple leggings. So right now it's quite everywhere. So what I want to do, I want to just like go to my clown. Actually, first of all, let's just make a copy of this so we're not working on the original. And we go to clown, and I'm just gonna select. Let's turn on contagious. Let's see. Let's do 100, and let's select everything black. Turn it off, and minus the environment. So the way I'm just doing this like minus and positive, it's just by holding Alt for positive or for minus, and then Shift for positive, so that you just like basically can add selected parts to your selection collection, I guess. So we're just gonna delete that, and let's see. Let's move this. Let's move this here, and let's delete that, and let's turn this on, and so it looks fine. So I guess what I'm gonna do right now, because we don't have all the holes, because it was white, the whole thing was white, I'm just gonna try to get all these diamonds one by one, because if I don't, then it's gonna look weird. So what do you guys think of this kind of videos? If you're watching all the way through, do you think they are boring? Do you think they're helpful? This is I don't think this is the first time I'm trying, like I'm showing my process. But I think this is the first time I'm showing like a full post-process video. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do you think this is too much? This is too long? Let me know down in the comments, people of YouTube, if you're actually watching this video. Let's see. So I'm going to pause my video right now, and I'm going to select everything, all the diamonds, and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so I got most of the diamonds taken care of. Maybe just some, maybe a few more. but from afar when you look at it, it doesn't look weird. So the next thing I want to do, I want to get rid of this right there. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on my clown. I'm going to select red, and I'm going to try to just unselect the rest of it. So for that, let's see. Okay, we're on the right layer, and just gonna get rid of what I think is right. Okay, so we don't really need that. Just gonna go over it again. So you see how tedious this process really is. So right now, if I just delete this, nothing would happen to our main image because we have this background. So there is this bluish line that needs to be taken care of. Alright, I'm just using my eraser tool. The next thing I want to do, I may have to select my knee brace, all of it, and then adjust it a little bit, warp it a little bit. So for that, I'm going to turn on my clown. You guessed it right. And I'm going to go to the clown layer. And I'm going to turn off the contagious so I can get the black spots there. And then I'm going to go to select and inverse. So right now we have this, which is pretty good. And let's do something. Let's actually turn or bring this down to say 20. And go to our main layer, and maybe I need to expand it. Did I move it? I don't think I moved it. I do not think I moved it, so that's fine. I guess that'll work. Select inverse, hide it, and go to the main image. Select all of it. I don't know, for some reason it didn't capture all of it. Which is a shame, because now I'm gonna have to do it manually, but it's fine. It's just a few lines here and there, and here currently. You want to remove that part of the selection, and I think that should be good. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm gonna make a copy of this. So Control J, and then we have a copy, which looks fantastic. Okay, so Control D or Control T, my bad, Control T for transform, and I'm gonna go to warp. Let's see if we can just like distort it first a little bit, and then use warp, because warp can be funny sometimes. Nah, let's just use warp. Warp, and we're just gonna move it until we think that it looks about right. It doesn't have to like completely fit the woman's leg, because in the physical model, in the physical prototype, it actually kind of sticks out a little bit because it's not like a sleeve or something, so it's plastic. Alright, that looks good. Let's compare it with the old one. Yeah, looks pretty good. And we're going to turn this back on, and the next thing I want to do, I want to actually save it. Let's just save it on here. Let's just save it here. Competition, okay. And the next thing I want to do is to actually change these straps, because right now they look weird. So we go there, and for the straps, it's a little confusing. So I guess, oh, well, obviously I already moved the image, so with the warp, but I think that's fine. You can just select and unselect these spots, and again. Alright, now it looks fine, and let's just unselect that one as well. I'm gonna do a Control J So I have this, and let's do something. Let's just delete. Let's just make a copy of the knee brace, and let's just delete the straps on. There we go. On the brace, and I'm gonna remove or hide it for a second, and I'm gonna just erase the outline so it doesn't look weird. And we have our straps. So this is probably the hardest part is to get it right now. Perspective distort to get everything right. Or let's just use skew. I don't know exactly. It's not hard, but it's just a tedious process. Let's make a copy out of it first. I always forget to make a copy. Skew. Distort. And let's do something. Let's actually separate this layer where I cut, so that's separate, and this one is also separate because we have to adjust them separately for them to look natural. And perhaps warp? No. Let's see. We can just transform it. Yeah, we can just resize it or rescale it. And again, it doesn't have to fit her leg perfectly. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. And the next thing I want to do is make a copy and erase this. And I'm going to use an eraser to just make it look a little bit better. I'm just whispering to myself right now. Alright. So, looks natural enough for the distance that we're at right now. I think looks pretty good. And let's see. It's different color. Alright, so the next one is this one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to again Control T, and we're going to rotate it. And we're going to rotate it even more. And we're going to go to Skew. Alright, looks fine, I think. It needs a little bit more. It's a little warping. And this one as well. It does need a little bit more, yeah, warping. I don't like to use warp because it makes the render lose details. So I think it's looking decent. The next thing, obviously, I want to select this one here. And let's make a copy. Alright, go here and make a copy. And let's see. Let's close this. Yeah, let's close this, and now let's keep it open. Yes, let's keep it open, and let's use the mask tool, spot healing brush, to actually erase. To make this invisible. So we can just, so right now what I'm doing is just using a spot healing brush. You can get more advanced and use like the clone stamp tool or the healing brush tool, which I think I have to use for here. Let's see, let's get it a bit bigger. And okay, looks fine. I'm gonna have to fix that. It's fine. And let's see. Let's actually. Looks weird, so I'm gonna have to go to healing brush tool. This one doesn't just copy the spot onto your image, it actually kind of blends it in with the background. So that's good. Again, I think I'm gonna have to use the other two. No, that's enough. All right. So from far, doesn't look too bad. May look a little bit weird, but it's fine for now. I might work on it a little bit more later. All right. Strap 1, strap 2, brace, and what's this video? Internals. Just copy it. Alright, so the next thing I obviously want to do, I want to make this look like, actually it's like bending. So I'm not sure if I can do anything. I might be able to just like cut it in half, like from here. Control or layer by a cut, and just make it like there, and then put this one here. Ta-da! Just I'm kidding. A little bit there. That's fine. So let's warp it a little bit, because that one is also it's also plastic, so it's going to warp. It's going to like change forms, and we're gonna take a copy of these two and merge them together. Control E merges them together. Let's see if we can just get away with a brush tool. Yep, it's decent. Yeah, let's make this thicker here a little bit, and even here. All right. And for there, I can't really use a brush tool. I guess I can. Try not to. Okay. Let's see. Let's make this thicker a little bit here. The luxury that I have right now is actually like the picture's camera angle and really the quality. It's not high, so I don't really have to work hard to make it look realistic. So for this one, I'm going to have to erase it here and just erase it. And this one is fine, I think. Oh, there is this. No, that's fine. Alright. So that piece looks kind of weird for sure. How can we make it look better? I do have this, so I wonder if I can just warp it. Let's see if I can just warp this. Yeah, I think this is better actually. Start. And it can't just like bend as much as I bent it in the other one. It has to have some pressure on it because of all the electronics, of course. Alright, I think this looks decent. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it as is right now. It kind of looks weird. Looks real weird. Maybe add some sharpness to it. So I'm gonna actually have to select it. Sharpen edges. Let's do another one. Sharpen more. Not too bad, right? Let's see. I did Control Z it, so I can just do one sharpen more. And I'm gonna use the same filter on these guys too. Yep, perfect. Sharpen more, and this one again, sharpen more. Okay, so one other thing I should have just done at the beginning of this post-processing is that was to actually go to image and change this to 17 by 11 and then change the pixels per inch to like 300. Let's do 200. 200 is fine. And click OK. Alright, so now when we select things, it actually grabs more pixels, so that's good. And if we zoom in, it does look kind of weird, but it's fine. So the next thing I may want to adjust a little bit is to actually, let's just put everything together here. And just put them here, and just, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so the next thing I do want to adjust might be the lighting. The lighting already looks decent, so I'm not really worried about that. Let's change the saturation. So if I just Control U it, this hue saturation menu comes up, and I can just play with the saturation a little bit. Maybe add, say, no, 7. Let's do 8. And I have to do the same thing for these 4. And let's do something. Let's just make a copy of them all and then merge them together. So we have these, and we have one that's all merged. And let's see. A little bit bluish. That's actually not bad. Just keep it at 20. I mean, 20 is fine. And let's do something. I'm gonna open a where is it? Levels? Not levels. I always mix these two up. As curves. To make a curve or open a curves menu to change the lightness and maybe bring down red a little bit, green I think because if there's too much green in it, that should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Control Z. And blue, maybe increase the blue a little bit to just add a cool tone to it. And let's see. I think I want to add some blur to not the background but to our knee brace. So what I'm going to have to do, and here's the difference by the way, is to actually, I'm thinking maybe I can do a little bit of motion blur in Photoshop. I don't have to, but I can. I'm just gonna just blur everything. So go to filter and go to Gaussian blur here, and 10 obviously is too much. Let's do too much, and let's do 1. Hey, that looks kinda nice, right? Doesn't look nice, but let's take a copy, or make a copy, and then blur it. 1. Let's do 0.5, 0.75. Alright, so I just remember that I need to change the shadows on here too, on her knee. So I'm going to go to my main layer, and I'm going to go to here. There's like a dodge tool, burn tool, sponge tool. So burn tool, I'm going to add shadows. So shadows obviously, and I'm going to, it's working. Alright, there we go, it's working. I'm going to increase the shadows here. So it looks like she is indeed wearing something, and maybe increase the shadows there. Okay, let's do this. Let's increase the shadows there, and here a little bit, and maybe here too. So that was too much. Let's do just a small amount. Nope, that was definitely too much. Let's decrease the exposure to 10. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's add a lighter shadow there, like right underneath it. Looks good. Let's add one here. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else that I do want to do. I usually just add a noise filter to it too. But I don't think I need a noise filter on this one. Should just add a sharpen. This one sharpen. So it's a little bit sharper right now. It's good. But it's not perfect. Maybe the way I can make this perfect, I can just like manually blur this here. What's the strength? No, that's too much. Let's do 20. That's fine. Alright. Let's do one here and then maybe a little bit more here. Just a little bit here too. Alright, so it looks pretty good. I think it does look natural. And if there's anything else I can do, I'm thinking perhaps add a noise filter to the knee brace itself. Let's see how much noise we can get out of this. 20, obviously too much. Let's do 5, too much. I usually do 2. Let's just keep it 2. Alright, I think it looks pretty decent. It's I think it's a good looking product as well. And a good looking background. And you know, the scene is pretty good. It's not showing too much details of the product, which is good. This is what I want. And maybe I was just thinking, maybe we should add some shadows here because of her body is like on it. So burn tool, I'm gonna add shadows there, and yeah. Maybe just some there too. Alright. So let's see. Do we need to make anything lighter? Maybe. Yeah. Let's just make this one a little bit lighter. Is it the burn? This no. Is it the dodge tool? Yeah, it's the dodge tool. Okay. Let's just. It's not working. Oh boy, too much. Let's do 10% and let's add some. You know. Too much again, 5%. That's it. Okay, looks pretty decent. Guys, again, let me know what you think of this process tutorial video. I'm personally not the biggest fan of it, but I thought maybe you guys would learn something new from just my process, me doing things. Let me know if it's too boring, if it's helpful, if you actually learned something, if you stuck out all the way to the end. Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It will help, and eventually I can reach to 1,000 subscribers, so it's gonna be cool. And that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for sticking out this long, and I will see you in 2 weeks maybe. Bye.